Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So there'll be games, movies and TV, and then something from, or a few things from the week it was recorded. If you're checking us out on YouTube, thank you very much. And if you're a subscriber on YouTube, huge thank you to you, because you're helping the channel out. If you're an audio listener, check out the SoundCloud page and the iTunes or Apple podcast page. I'm pretty sure there's a way you can subscribe through there as well. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. You see how I made a concerted effort to not make all the old man noises as I sat down? It's not trying to deny my old man nature by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was last time I was saying, have I ever started a podcast without the old man noises? Chalk up one podcast without old man noises. Some of you Some of you right now might be missing them. Maybe you don't know that the podcast has started. How about this? How about I tell you what interesting beverage I'm drinking? So I am drinking, and I feel like I always need to stress this, like saying socially distanced, of course, but for me, alcohol free, of course. Lervig, not a paid sponsor. But, you know, I'm open to offers. No Worries Grapefruit. It's got a funky can design. This one would be a big shout out to Mr. Williams, I believe. Grapefruit. I'm a big fan of grapefruit. I know almost nobody is. But that kicks you right in the back teeth sort of area, as you'd expect from grapefruit. I have a water chaser, and that's the drinks for this evening's entertainment. So let me have a look at the list just to refresh my memory. Heavy on the movies this week. Heavy on the movies. That heavy, in fact, that I've missed a film out, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I am not overly proud of it. So, a lot of movies is a short version. I was trying to think when I was writing the list for this week. I was trying to think what I'd told you lovely people previously. I remember saying that like the collector in me gets I don't want to use the word upset, irked when I can't complete a collection. This had led on to me ordering a copy of the latest Spider-Man game, and that was that. And it was one of those things that I ordered it, and they're like, "Oh, we get stock at this point in time, and we'll send it to you, so you should receive it around this kind of time." And I was happy with that. I had this method in the madness kind of thing going on in my head, where I was like, if it turns up, then that's great. If it doesn't, then there are other options, so on and so forth. So I think the point in time they said it was going to turn up was this Wednesday, which I'd resigned myself to. I had a pile of other games, and those were games that I was working through. I was trying, I think, because this is going to sound weird or bad or whatever, but I think I kind of had too many. So I was trying to find one to settle on, and that had ended up being Assassin's Creed Valhalla. A side note, and this is something I should have covered previously, as part of this story. I'd ordered another game at the time. I was trying to make the most of the vouchers I got for Christmas. So I ordered another game at the time, which is Immortals. Now I've been calling it Phoenix Rising, but I've realised that it's not. It will be Phoenix, but it's spelt Phoenix. Which, I mean, let's face it, it's Phoenix, but I presume the spelling is significant. I can tell you at this point in time, there will not be a review for that game because I haven't started it yet. I have installed it, I haven't started it. But we're jumping way ahead. Let's get back to the point. So the earliest the game was going to turn up was Wednesday this week, and I was fine with that. So, now then, I think it was Thursday last week. I'd been for a run. I'm pretty sure this is how it went. Don't quote me there. I'd been for a run. I got back. And in the time between me going out for a run and getting back, there were 2 parcels. So, I knew what one of the 2 parcels was because it was going to be the game I'd ordered, which was this Immortals game. So I'm like, cool. And I presumed I knew what the other one was because at some point in time I'd ordered 2 Velcro straps, which was for the Quest, for the link cable, to try and make it a little more secure and try and give a bit more of a stable connection. Just trying to keep the cable out of the way when I'm wearing it, basically. I bought these clips that are really good, and I just wanted to sort of beef that up a bit more to make it better wearing. So I'm opening these things, and I open the first one, and there's this Immortals game. And I open the second one, expecting to put my hand in to pull out a packet with Velcro straps in. And it all happened at once. I was like, why is this parcel the same size and shape as the other one, which has got a game in? Because I've literally ordered 2 Velcro straps. As I pulled out the new Spider-Man game. And this started a chain of events. So I was like, Spider-Man game. Oh, that's really cool. You know, the people, whoever I've ordered it from. Now let's not mix it up here. I ordered it from Amazon, but you know these where it's a company selling through Amazon, so it wasn't Amazon. It certainly wasn't being done through Prime. I was like, they've managed to get stock. They've managed to send it to me. That's cool. But it was this thing of expectation that unknowingly had been exceeded. So that it exceeded my expectations, because I was still like, it's going to be another week before I even see that game. That's if it even turns up. There was a lot of, I didn't think I was going to actually see it. So the fact that I was seeing it over a week early, I was like, that's cool. And it proper set me up for the day. You got to think this is one of the first things that has happened in my day. I went out for a run, I came back, and then it was this situation, and it properly set me up for the day. I was impressed that there was a company out there that had exceeded my expectations. I had received the game that I wanted to play. I had received it first thing in the morning, so I could put it on to install straight away, so it'd be ready to play for that evening, and it was just. I get that it probably sounds, I don't know whether it's shallow or something, but it was just a really good way to start the day. It was like a high bar sort of situation for the day. Some of you will be expecting for me to say that the rest of the day was awful, but it wasn't. It was just a great way to start the day, being pleasantly surprised, and just how, there are companies out there, and there are companies that are doing, good work, and there are companies out there that will let you down, and it's how that affects your view of the company, their business, and so on and so forth. And I feel in these difficult times when businesses are failing left, right, and centre, it's things like that make the difference. Certainly made a difference to me. If somebody wanted me to recommend that company further down the line, I absolutely would. And it was just that win-win situation. But I think the thing that stood out for me was how it affected my day. And it was a real positive spin on the day. So I thought it was worth mentioning. Speaking of ordering stuff online, I've had this thing recently, and if there's one man that loves a conspiracy, it is absolutely this guy right here. I'm not like a tinfoil hat wearer. I'm not that level. But Bill Hicks, wanted to teach us that we should be opening our eyes. We should be looking around. We should be looking at who is going to benefit from a bad situation and those sorts of things. Don't trust what your government tells you. Don't trust what governing bodies and things like that, and big corporations and so on and so forth. So I suppose I took that on board, and that leans me towards loving a good conspiracy. And in the world we live in, we can't go to the shops anymore. We can't go down the road and go to the shop. So naturally, our shopping, our traffic, is heading to the internet. And I don't like to see when people take advantage of situations, especially bad situations. I don't like to see people trying to make money off people who are I want to say disadvantaged, but ultimately you're ordering something online. Presumably you're aware of the process of ordering online. What I am getting at is, recently I've been in a situation where I've been like, oh wow, that's cool, or oh, I want to get this sorted, I want to buy this, I want to get that. I can't go to the shops to get it. Some things you see you can't get in the shops, online store sort of thing. And the process usually goes like this. And this is where I've been spoiled by Amazon, is the short version. The process usually goes like this. Oh my god, that is cool. Do you know something? I don't often buy myself stuff. My money is very much has a specific purpose, and that purpose is often centered around my children and things like that. So what that means is I very rarely buy stuff for myself. Obviously, I've just sat here and talked at length about a load of stuff that I bought for myself. But go back, listen to it again. I did mention that I was spending vouchers that I got for Christmas. So ultimately, spending other people's money. So I very rarely buy stuff for myself. Something for myself is often something where I spend days umming and ahhing, and I've missed out on stuff purely because I've ummed and ahed for that long that it's then not available. There are a lot of different flavours, and they're all grapefruit. So, this is how the process goes. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Can I justify it? Do I need it? Does it take anything away from my children? I've got a daughter birthday imminent, very imminent, too imminent in some ways. Am I spending money on myself instead of buying her a birthday present? Am I spending money on myself instead of buying something for her party? Am I buying something for myself instead of buying a balloon or the takeaway that she'll want, or something for a cake? That sort of thing. Am I taking money away from them? If it's no. Do I need it? Want and need are very much different beasts. Sometimes it's maybe a little bit of, well, I don't need it, but I do want it. And it goes like this for so long that usually a couple of days have passed. Then I get really, I can't think of the word, really sort of like, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to buy it because I never buy stuff for myself, and I should be able to do it because that kind of thing. Justifying it. So you're looking at it and you realise that you're prepared to spend the money. I put it into coffee these days. How many cups of coffee would it cost to even out? If I'm buying something that's £20, how many cups of coffee would I spend? Would I buy in the blink of an eye to make that £20? So that's that. So we've spent X number of days mulling it over, backwards and forwards, going to the website, is it still there? Those sorts of things. Then making the decision. Well, screw it. I'd have spent that money on 4 cups of coffee by now, so I'm going to order it. I put the item or items into the basket. I press the checkout button, and then you get the uppercut. It's not like a jab. No, straight in with the uppercut. Delivery / postage / whatever they want to call it on their website that suddenly has started costing a lot more. 2 places in the last week that I have attempted to order from. 2 online places that I've attempted to make purchases from, that the point that I've gone to check out and they've added their postage or delivery or whatever on has physically stopped me placing the order. Now, it's a little bit of an unwelcome surprise when you get to the last bit and you've psyched yourself up so much that when you reach that point and you press that button, that they then punch you in the face with excessive postage charge. Like, it's that thing, is it? If somebody's like, £2.50 in postage, you're a bit like, it's £2.50. What am I going to do with £2.50 in this day and age? Click. Somebody wants £3.50. Now we're talking, it's a little bit more money. £3.50 is a lot for something that ultimately you don't see. It's not a product, you're not buying anything. You're just saying, I'm prepared to give X amount of money. And don't get me wrong, I understand that it costs money to send stuff. I'm not like, well, all postage should be free. I get it. But £3.50 is probably, for me, a threshold. So anything past that, we're entering the territory of I'm good, thanks. So £3.50 is £4. Probably good, thanks. £4 turns to £4.50, £5. So 2 places in the last week have tried to charge me the best part of £6 for postage. Now, I'm sorry, the tight Yorkshireman, as I've discussed previously, and I know right now that there are people going, mate, it's £6. What are you going to do with £6? You've already said you're prepared to pay up to £3.50. I am prepared to pay up to £3.50. You are correct, sir. However, £3.50 ain't £6, is it? And £6's nearly double £3.50. So that's nearly twice as much as I'm prepared to pay. And I just feel like that. Like I said, 2 places where I'm like, do you know what? I'm good. I don't need that products. And I've walked away. And I just feel that recently there has been this influx of inflated delivery costs. And I've tried to rationale. So here's what I came up with. Because of difficulties with postage, because of a difficult time, hard to get to the post office. Some post offices I believe aren't open, and so on and so forth. And then when you get there, you know that there's a possibility that item might not reach its destination, so you want it to go as quickly as possible, and to have tracking on it, and it might be a weighty item. All of that adds up. Money. And that money you are passing on to the consumer. You shouldn't have to pay that as a business. If that person wants it, they'll pay for it. I guess I'm just not in that camp. So yeah, that's about inflated postage at a time when, things aren't great. And I think, so far what we've covered is the difference between great customer service and, I don't know, customer service that is a little lacking in some ways. And I get it. I get that people will disagree with, that's just the way the world works and that sort of thing. But that's my personal opinion about having to pay crazy amounts of postage. Short version is, I ain't going to order it. Simple as that. So my eldest got a chess set. Now I'm starting to think I might have discussed this, but we're not talking chess. Bought one of those 3-in-1 games. It's also kind of like a travel one because you can fold it up, and it's like a wooden box that essentially folds out into a board. It's 3 games: chess, drafts, and backgammon. Backgammon, man. There's a game that I just can't get my head around it. It's probably largely to do with me not really trying. Although somebody did at some point try and explain it to me, and I was lost. So, excuse me, I think I spoke about chess previously. So my eldest comes to me the other day, can we play chess? I was like, well, you got chess and drafts. Have you ever played drafts before? No. Oh, you should give it a try. Chess it's a difficult game. It's a difficult game to master. Maybe drafts is more your speed. or checkers, as I believe the Americans refer to it as. Oh yeah, all right then. Let's play drafts. You know you're off to a winner when you have to Google how to set up the board. I'd set it up like a bit like I was setting up chess, and then realised that it was all wrong. So I Googled it, and I'd put all the pieces in the wrong place. So I corrected that. I read the rules to refresh myself on the rules, and set out to play a game of drafts. And I mean, it's just I look at drafts as like diet chess, but it's just as bad. Oh man, because I'm not the smartest man in the world, it just exhausts me. So over 2 days we played 3 games. First game was very much a learning experience for everybody involved. I was reminding myself of the game. My eldest was trying to grasp the rules and what you can and can't do. And Leanne was helping from a eye in the sky Overwatch perspective, because she was stood up, and when you stood up you can see more of the board and talk things through, and that's that. So pretty sure the first game went on a while because you're learning and teaching and stuff. Ended in a stalemate situation. I won. Can we play again? Yes. Now then, was it a yes but not now situation? It had taken a long time. I felt like it was like 40 minutes to an hour or something. So I think we ended up playing the next day. Played a game. And I was like, you've learnt the rules, you've learnt the do's and don'ts, the cans and cannots. So I'm not gonna help you as much, and I'm not gonna pull as many punches. Ended in stalemate. So I won. But by this point I was like, you're letting me win. You're not playing to your full extent. So I'm like, look, you don't need to let me win. You can, you're an intelligent child. You're far more intelligent than I am. You can do this. You can win this game. So don't let me win. Don't be moving pieces so that I can take them. Play the game. Yeah. That was a whole different scenario. Ended up in a point where ultimately I think she got tired of it. I think she got bored of it, and Nana came, so it was a bit of distraction. And then eventually I was like, what's happening with this game of drafts? Everybody had sort of left the table, walked away from it, and she was like, oh, we can just consider that you won. But yeah, there is a 32-year gap between myself and my eldest, and you would think that 32 years would count for something when it comes to a game like that. There was a point when she said to me, oh, it's like war, isn't it? It's like two opposing armies trying to defeat the other army, and I was like, that is absolutely what this is. Yeah. I am not looking forward to my next game of drafts. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So a lot of fun. I played a lot of games. Post Christmas, everybody gets a board game. Some of the board games this year have been a lot of fun. Been a lot of card games, a lot of board games, a lot of games. Did a jigsaw with my middle daughter. The last time I did a jigsaw with my middle daughter, it was somewhat taxing. This time round, not as taxing. We did it 3 times, and each time she got better at it, to the point where the third time, she pretty much did it on her own, which is what you want. So, an enjoyable time playing board games. Honestly, can't recommend sitting down and playing a board game enough. Right, let's talk entertainment. I'm looking at the first 2 films on the list, and I'm like, because I'm also looking at the rest of the list, and I'm like, geez, man. You remember last week I was saying that I watched The Matrix again for the first time in what could be 15 to 20 years? Well, the thing about The Matrix is it's the first film in a trilogy. Me being me, I'm absolutely going to watch the other 2, aren't I? I always remember the other 2 being terrible. I watched the second one, and spoilers for a 20-year-old film. I remember the bit where he gets to... This is a spoiler, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you might want to address that situation. I remember the point where he got to the architect, and by the time he got to the architect, being like, this is fucking bullshit. And I think this time round, having not seen it for 15 years or something, I was a bit like, because up to that point, I'd quite enjoyed it. It's been an interesting experience revisiting certain films that I've not seen for a long time, and looking at them with different or somewhat older eyes. So the second one wasn't that bad. Not really a patch on the first one, because the first one was kind of very much a situation of, here's the story, it is what it is. Whereas the second, and very much the third one, they want to make the story more than what it is. And then there's, especially by the third one, there's very much the religious connotations. So I watched the second one, and I was like, it's fine. It was quite an enjoyable watch. So, yeah. I watched the third one, and I remember that film ending completely different to the way it actually ends. So that was a surprise. I actually had to Google to find out if they'd changed the end, which they hadn't. So I was like, okay, I remember that film completely differently then. Let's face it, I think by the third one the whole thing's kind of disappeared up its own arse a bit. Which ultimately, again, it was a fine watch. There's a bit more of the human side of it. The stuff out of the Matrix and the battle. The stuff with the giant walker things, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Honestly, I'm glad I watched them. You know, I really enjoyed watching The Matrix again. Seeing it with, like I say, with different eyes. Didn't mind the second one, and the third one I kind of just let the third one wash over me a little bit. So yeah, I watched the Matrix trilogy, and I'm glad I did. I followed it up with a film. Now, this is one of those. I am going to look this up. I know that's all. What the flip is that? What are the chances? How weird is that? I didn't look it up at the time. Smoking. It was right there. Fuck you. Right, here we go. The reason that I wanted to look this up was for no other reason than I need to read the cast list for this film. This cast list is insane. So, I watched the film Smoking Aces, which I've never seen before. That's why, largely why we're talking about it now. And I really enjoyed this film. I could not believe this film had the cast it had. So here we go. Ryan Reynolds, Ray Liotta, a load of guys that I don't think we need to really cover. Jeremy Piven, Ben Affleck. A load of guys. That guy, there's a guy called Common, who I'm sure was in one of the John Wick films. Andy Garcia, Alicia Keys, Nestor Carbonell. Not a name I recognise, but I recognise the actor from loads of stuff. Chris Pine, Kevin Durant, Tommy Flanagan, Curtis Armstrong, Joel Edgerton, who was from Warrior, Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman was an absolute state in it. Matthew Fox, Patrick Saint Esprit, who the only thing I ever see him playing is like generals and stuff. Just trying to see if there's anybody else that stands out. Honestly, it was an absolutely insane cast of people. So, basic story being is a guy gets involved with the mob, gets into trouble, decides to rat everybody out, is about to go into witness protection, goes to... So he's from Vegas. Does he go to Reno? Maybe. Don't quote me. For like, I think it's like 48 hours before he's going to go into witness protection. And when he goes into witness protection, he's going to have to give up all the elements of his life, like sex, drugs and rock and roll sort of stuff. So he's spending the majority of that time getting absolutely out of his mind on cocaine. Played by Jeremy Piven, who was fantastic in the role. And basically, the mob put out a hit and they send it out to everybody. So there's all these insane little pockets of like hitmen. Chris Pine was very good. He plays like this like a neo-Nazi redneck, one of three brothers, and he was very good in that role. Ryan Reynolds and Ray Liotta play FBI agents. Andy Garcia is their boss, and it's just like everybody's trying to get to this guy either before he goes into witness protection or to make sure he goes into witness protection, and all of this. Great film. I honestly expected that it would be, I would have thought it would have been a Guy Ritchie film. It had that kind of feel to it. Superb film, very enjoyable, a lot of fun. So much so that I actually considered watching it again the next day because I really enjoyed it. Yeah, just one of those things. Well made, well acted, great cast, good story. Just ticked a load of boxes. Absolutely would recommend. Here's the thing on that one. Jeez. So from a film that I thoroughly enjoyed to a film that I put on because I was like, sounds okay. Again, had an interesting cast. And then, I got so far into it and I just completely tuned out. So I watched a film called Killer Elite. Now here's the difficulty with reviewing this film. My whole point around it was I couldn't see the point. I just couldn't see the point, which meant I couldn't care less. So the three main actors in this film: Jason Statham, Clive Owen, Robert De Niro. I really do wonder whether somebody had naked pictures of Robert De Niro, or pictures of Robert De Niro doing something that he shouldn't have been doing. Oh man. Honestly, couldn't care less about that film. And this is the thing, because I want to be able to say, here's what it was about. But I can't tell you what it was about. I know that it was set in the... I think it was set in the 80s. It was based on a true story. This was part of it. It was based on a true story. So you've got ex-SAS guys. And these guys had done something bad at a certain point in time. Robert De Niro gets taken hostage, which means that Jason Statham and Robert De Niro, they were friends, but they were also from the same squad of something. This is the thing. I just didn't see the point. I couldn't work out what the point was. Basically, Jason Statham and a team of two other guys have to go and kill a load of people who are ex-SAS. But the ex-SAS people have formed this clandestine group. But most of them are bankers and lawyers and stuff. But obviously they also take offence at somebody killing off members of their group. So I get that much, but man, it got so far, and I was just like, I tried to care, I tried to stay invested. I'm done. And then the rest of the film played. There was a lot of, I think, things that were supposed to be a bit like twists, but weren't really. It wasn't great. There's a part of me that's like, maybe I just wasn't giving it the time, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention to it to understand what was going on. Maybe that was it. Maybe I'm not doing it justice. Maybe it was a great film. I don't know. Because I couldn't get into it enough to actually work any of the stuff out to then actually care about any of it. Don't take my word for it, obviously. If you feel like it's your sort of thing, do give it a whirl. And, contact me and tell me what you think. Maybe tell me what the hell was going on in it. Maybe then I'll understand. So, that was that. I feel like, I don't want to say this, but this is how it feels. It feels like this bit was a bit of a shit sandwich because I watched 3 films. The first one was great, the second one was not, and the third one was also great. That's because I watched these 3 films over like a couple of days or something. The third of these 3, not the last of the films I've watched, there's a film called The Iceman. I need to get you the guy's name. So again, it's back to the old Ujima what's it? The Iceman. 2012 if anybody's interested. Michael Shannon. A guy who keeps turning up in pretty much... Well, he keeps turning up in a lot of stuff I'm watching, and I am enjoying him more and more. He played a character in that The Night Before. It was very enjoyable. Also has Chris Evans in it, and James Franco was in it for a smidge. Winona Ryder, Ray Liotta again, David Schwimmer, and then it kind of drops off a little. John Magilla, who I only know from Sopranos. Known for The Sopranos, there you go. I do know stuff. Stephen Dorff was in it, very briefly. Completely random. Yeah, so another film that was based on a true story. Set in the 80s again. Maybe this was the one that was set in the 80s. Maybe that other film wasn't. Oh, I might have told you wrong. Just ignore it if I have. I didn't do it on purpose, I swear. So, well, let me read you the description that I've got here in front of me. The story of Richard Kuklinski, the notorious contract killer and family man. When finally arrested in 1986, neither his wife nor daughters had any clue about his real profession. So it was one of those things. Anybody who knew him believed that he was originally in porn movie production, not like making pornos, just like making the cinema film reels back in the time when there was porn shown in cinemas. He then lost that job, but gained a job as a contract killer, again for the mob. But his family believed, because he had an increase of money, his family believed that he'd gone into like banking of some unknown description. People seem to know what he did better than I suppose he did. Based on true story. Again, everybody in it, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, there was obviously something wrong with his wiring. I think he was a contract killer because I think he kind of had to be. I think there was like a point in the film where they kind of highlighted that he had to do it. Essentially, he was probably a serial killer that turned that side of his life into quite a profitable business. Reaches a point in time where he kind of gets laid off by the mob and ends up going to work with Chris Evans' character. And they work for anybody. They do a lot of contract killing. And all of this is going on whilst he's supposedly this banker. Everything's fine, everything's great, but then as these things often do, all starts falling apart towards the back end. And yeah, the story goes that his family and friends knew nothing about what he actually did for a living, which, from his perspective, I imagine is probably exactly what he was looking for. Great film, really enjoyable, very well acted from everybody involved. Just a good, solid, enjoyable movie. It's one of those things, it's always odd to see anybody that was in that's been an Avenger, let's say, in roles outside of that, when seeing Chris Evans in like Knives Out and seeing him in this, it's almost like seeing them away from their natural habitat. So it's a bit weird. Thoroughly enjoyable film. I enjoyed that one a lot. So here's one for you. Man, oh man. Sorry for the slurping. I'm having trouble finishing that can. So there was a film available on Prime that I put on. I'm working at the moment, I'm trying to watch new stuff. Gives me a bit more to talk about. So I'd seen that there was a film available on Prime. I knew a series of things about it. One, it was an Oscar-winning movie. Two, I'd been mildly interested when it had been released, before it became an Oscar winner. Three, it had a reasonable cast, and all of these sorts of things that build up this. That's a film that I kind of want to see. Always helps when it's free, and by free I mean available on Prime or Netflix or whatever else people have. The film in question is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So as far as names are concerned, yeah, love to know who got the job of naming that film. Weirdly, does absolutely what it says on the tin, because the main plot of this film is about these 3 billboards. I need to get, because I always think that she is. Oh, straight away. Okay. Again, I might as well just read you the description I've got here. A mother personally challenges the local authorities to solve her daughter's murder when they fail to catch the culprit. Frances McDormand. Where was she? Yeah. She is phenomenal. She's had some amazing roles. Fargo, Almost Famous. The Good Dinosaur. Wow. Burn After Reading. She was great in that. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Why we're here is to talk about this film. So here we go. Frances McDormand, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell. Those were the main. There's a guy here, Caleb Landry Jones. He was in a couple of the X-Men movies, the newer ones. And I meant to look her up because I am almost sure sorry, yet again it's another one of those where I should have done all of this before. There you go. She was in the RoboCop remake, Abby Cornish. She was in Limitless as well. I could have sworn. No, I guess not. She must just look very much like somebody I thought. Anywho. So. This one was a doozy. Not only did I have a good old-fashioned cry, I cried twice in this film. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this film was very much a collection. Like, one character's side of things in this film was a collection of all of my biggest fears right now in life. It was hard. It was a hard watch. Man. It's one of those, because what I want to say is like, oh my god, you should absolutely see this film. It's amazing, which it is. But weirdly, I don't want to tell you anything about it because I feel like anything I would say about it might in some way detract from it as a film, and I don't want to spoil any part of it. What I would say is it's a very good film. You can easily see why it's an Oscar-winning movie. The people, the actors in it are very good. They play interesting characters. But the problem I've got is that I can't be like, so there was this bit, and because I don't. It's like almost like I don't want to taint it in any way. It's absolutely a brilliant film. It's available on Prime at time of recording. It's available on Prime. If you have Prime, I would sit down, strap in, and get ready for a really good film. Is maybe the best I can give you. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed that film. Maybe without the crying. But hey, some things just get to you, I guess. Start some computer games. Played Half-Life Alyx again. Finished it again. One of the things I can say about playing it again is it did give me the opportunity to really slow down, not race through it as much. Try and collect more of the stuff to collect. I would be very interested to know if it's possible to get all of the upgrades in that game. And if it is, how? Because I was still missing quite a lot by the end of the second playthrough. I even went to like places that I'd not been to previously because I took more time. Phenomenal game, fantastic game. As good the second time round. Like I say, it did give me the opportunity to have a bit more of an explore, and that brings with it, more games is all good. So yeah, do have to admit that I have started it again. I skipped the first mission, but I have started it again. I do need to get back to playing some of the other stuff that I've got. I need to go back to playing Stormland. I need to go back to playing some of the stuff that I got from the Humble Bundle that I've barely touched. And this is probably part of the problem with Half-Life being as good as it is. It kind of spoils you for other games. I felt this very much with Boneworks. Like playing Boneworks was very much a situation of like, why would I play other stuff when I've got this to play? And after playing it a lot, it did get to a point where I was like, I kind of fancy something else, and went from there. That's how I got to playing things like Stormland and stuff like that. So I'm feeling very much like I'm neglecting my other VR titles. So my intention is to go back to other things. Stormland. Let's say my intention is to play Stormland. It feels to me like a Arizona Sunshine kind of situation. That that was a game that I just kept going back to and kept going back to and kept going back to because it was such a good game. But maybe there just needs to be a part of me that can accept that I can go away from this and come back later. So I'll look at doing that. As far as consoles concerned, a man that talks about how many games he's got has only been playing one console game. That console game might come as no surprise to be Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is a little bit of a pro-con situation. The upside is I unlocked the Into the Spider-Verse suit. Now I was aware already that if you get the suit, you get a mod which changes the game into the style of Into the Spider-Verse. I believed what it did was it changed the world into the Spider-Verse, and that is not the case. It's just the suit and everything sort of around the suit. What that does mean is when you run and jump off a building, he jumps off a building the way he does in the film. It's like a kind of like a backwards jump where he's sort of almost like he's looking at the camera sort of thing, which is incredibly entertaining. Also, the suit is done in the style, and it's like a intentional jerky animation is the style I would go with. Into Spider-Verse is incredibly stylized, and that's what this mod does. I have unlocked a few other suits. Something that's a real standout in this game is the suits aren't great. You get a suit at the start, so you start the game in basically like a puffer jacket and a Spider-Man mask. Then you get a suit which is awful, but I think it's supposed to be. No, that's not the case. It's supposed to be. It's clearly supposed to be not great. It doesn't fit properly, so on and so forth. So by the time you get to a point where you can actually unlock a suit, you're grateful for that. Whereas in the other one, the suit that Spider-Man starts out with from very early on is very new and it's very iconic all at the same time. It's great, and what made that game nice is that 90% of the suits that you unlock in that game are great. Unfortunately, in the Miles Morales one of the early suits you unlock is cool, and I was playing the majority of the game with that. Some of the options for suits that I've had that I can unlock, I've looked at and been like, why would I unlock that when it doesn't look very good? So I was very much working towards getting into the Spider-Verse suit so that I could unlock that. And basically, I've played since I unlocked it. I've stayed in that suit. There's also the fact that probably about 40% of the suits require you to complete sections of the game, which again feels a bit like, so what, I'm going to get a load of suits at the end of the game? Also, there are elements in this game that are very heavily centred around New Game Plus. Now, I am a man that loves New Game Plus, but do I want to be told in my first playthrough, oh, you can only unlock this in New Game Plus? So yeah, there's a bit of that. There is also something that's become apparent the more I've played it, is it's just a reskin of the other game. Basically, they've taken the other game, they've added snow to it, they've given the Spider-Man character, in this case Miles Morales, different powers. You know, they've given him Miles Morales' powers, and then they've just tweaked things from the other game to the point that, like, oh, the bad guys in this game have taken over the bases from the bad guy in the first game. Oh, so it's the same bases with basically the same enemies then, is what you're saying? Yeah, but we're not going to tell you that so that it looks different. I mean, it's the same thing, isn't it? So there's a lot of recycling, and the more you play it, the further you get through, the more you realise, like, I played this in the other one. On the plus side, never going to get away from the fact that it's just a lot of fun. You know, as a game, as a franchise, it's a lot of fun. Swinging through the city as Spider-Man, fighting, doing special moves, with having these new additional powers that you didn't have in the first one. That is a new dimension to the game, and it's a welcome addition. So, like I say, it's a little bit pro and con kind of situation. Something else that's probably a little bit more in the con column is I'm very much attempting to do everything, and I'm pretty sure I'm 65% of the way through the game, and that's with me attempting to do everything. So I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of game left. Like I say, trying to spread things out. I've been collecting the collectibles and doing the side missions, so there is that aspect. I'll keep posted because there's a possibility I'll probably finish it soon, and I'll let you know what I'm going to go on to next. I'm certainly going to give that Immortals a go and then make a decision what the next game to really play, to really sink my teeth into is going to be. And I'll let you know what happens in the world of VR. That's it for this time. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. So there you go, what do you think of that? Another one done. Oh, where does the time go? YouTube watchers, big thank you to those of you that subscribe because you're helping the channel out. Hint, hint, wink, wink to non-subscribers, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Listeners, we've got SoundCloud as well as iTunes, and you can subscribe on there. So, maybe that's something you might want to do. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check us out over there. See what we've got going on. We've got links for emails and social media and things like that. And you can drop us a line. Let us know when you're coming on the podcast. How about that? So that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.